1. This 1976 Chevy K5 Blazer represents an interesting opportunity in the classic SUV market, currently listed at $22,000. The vehicle combines classic styling with significant modern upgrades, making it an attractive option for enthusiasts who appreciate both vintage charm and enhanced capabilities. The most notable feature is the newer 6-inch lift kit, which, paired with 37-inch tires mounted on 20-inch rims, gives this Blazer an imposing stance. The combination suggests this vehicle has been built with both show and off-road potential in mind. The manual 4-speed transmission is particularly noteworthy, as it's a rare option that many collectors value. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 cubic inch engine, which is a reliable and well-supported power plant in the classic car community. Recent mechanical improvements include a new exhaust system, gas tank, fuel lines, and brake lines, suggesting attention has been paid to safety and reliability. The newer carburetor and chrome headers, though one side has been replaced, round out the engine bay updates. The body appears to have good bones, having undergone restoration work by a previous owner. While the exact time frame of this restoration isn't specified, this could be a point worth investigating further with the seller. At 104,000 miles on the odometer, this Blazer has seen reasonable use for its age. The clean title status is a positive factor, indicating no major accidents or title issues in its history. 2. The 1972 Chevrolet C10, currently offered at $6,000, presents an intriguing opportunity for classic truck enthusiasts, particularly those interested in a project vehicle with significant mechanical upgrades already completed. This pickup represents the desirable second-generation C10 body style, which has become increasingly popular among collectors and customizers. The heart of this truck is a blueprinted 1973 small-block 350 V8 engine, enhanced with a Holley 4-barrel carburetor and electronic ignition system. These modifications suggest attention to performance and reliability. The 3-speed manual transmission offers the engaging driving experience that classic car enthusiasts often prefer, providing a more connected feel to the driving experience. The seller has invested in several crucial mechanical improvements that address safety and reliability concerns. The brake system has been completely overhauled with new calipers, rotors, drums, and master cylinder. Additionally, the fuel system has received attention with a new fuel tank and fuel pump installation. These updates are significant as they address critical safety and operational systems that often require attention in vehicles of this age. The truck's stance has been modified with a lowering kit, dropping the front by 3 inches and the rear by 5 inches, giving it an aggressive, street-oriented appearance that's popular in the custom truck scene. The white paint color is classic and versatile, though potential buyers should inspect the finish condition in person. Regarding mileage, the odometer shows 1,000 miles but has rolled over, indicating the true mileage is unknown. This is common for vehicles of this age and shouldn't necessarily be a deterrent, especially given the mechanical refreshing that's been done. 3. Let me tell you about this 1966 Ford F-100 that's currently up for grabs at $13,000. This classic pickup represents a piece of American automotive history, and from what I can see, someone's put some real thought into keeping it running while maintaining its vintage charm. Under the hood, you'll find the original inline-6 engine, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission that's been converted from its original column shift. The seller's been pretty thorough with the mechanical work. They've rebuilt the carburetor, replaced the head gasket, and taken care of various engine maintenance items including new spark plugs, wires, distributor cap, condenser, and coil. They've also addressed common leak points with new oil pan and valve cover gaskets. The truck's got some modern touches that make it more livable as a daily driver. There's a new Bluetooth radio with speakers, LED headlights for better visibility, and a fresh steering wheel setup complete with new horn button and wiring. The interiors received some attention too, with new seat covers, seat rails, and floor vents. They've installed carpet, though they're upfront about it being temporary and needing to be redone properly. Now, let's talk about the honest bits. There's some rust to contend with, particularly around the rear wheel fenders and behind the grille. The odometer's showing 81,000 miles, but it's broken, so the true mileage is unknown. These aren't deal breakers for a truck of this age, but they're definitely things you'll want to check out in person. What's particularly appealing about this F100 is that it seems to be a solid driver that's had meaningful mechanical work done while still leaving room for the next owner to make it their own. The clean title is a plus, and the red paint gives it that classic truck appeal. 4. Let me tell you about this 1984 Ford F-150 that's currently available for $3,500. This is one of those honest work trucks that's showing its age but still has some life left in it, and I'll be straight with you about what you're looking at here. This F-150 comes equipped with the robust 400 cubic inch V8 engine, paired with a 4-speed manual transmission and 4-wheel drive capability. The seller's being upfront about the truck's condition. It's a working truck with some issues that need addressing. The most pressing concern is the slipping clutch under heavy acceleration, which means you'll need to factor in a clutch job if you're planning to use this for any serious work. The exterior tells the story of its years of service. There's a rusty sprung hood that needs attention, and the windshield is cracked. The tires are described as fair, which typically means they'll need replacement sooner rather than later. On the positive side, all the lights are functional and the heater works well, which is always a plus in an older vehicle. Some recent maintenance has been done. There's a new power valve and accelerator pump in the Motorcraft 4-barrel carburetor, and the seller's including new tie rods that haven't been installed yet. The truck comes with a 5th wheel plate and ball, suggesting it's been used for towing. At 179,000 miles, this F-150 has seen its share of work. But these old Ford trucks are known for their durability. The clean title is a positive point, indicating no major accidents or title issues in its history. 5. Let me tell you about this 1978 GMC Sierra Grande K15 that's currently listed for $9,500. This is a classic short box 4x4 that represents the desirable square body era of GM trucks, and I'll give you the straight scoop on what we're looking at here. Under the hood, you'll find the reliable 350 cubic inch V8, paired with a T19 4-speed manual transmission. The seller's being upfront about the clutch situation. It's weak and will need attention, so you'll want to factor that repair into your budget. The truck comes with some nice features for its era, including dual fuel tanks, tilt steering, cruise control, and air conditioning, though you'll want to verify if the AC is still functioning. With 89,000 miles showing on the odometer, this Sierra hasn't been run into the ground. The green paint gives it that classic 70s truck vibe, and the clean title suggests it hasn't had any major accidents. The seller mentions they've installed a new battery and new seat, which are always welcome updates on a vintage truck. The Sierra Grande was GMC's upscale trim level for these trucks, so you're getting some of the nicer interior appointments that were available in '78. The short box configuration with 4x4 is a sought-after combination among enthusiasts, offering good maneuverability while maintaining off-road capability. At $9,500, you're looking at a classic truck that's presenting itself honestly. It needs a clutch job, but otherwise appears to be a solid example of these increasingly popular square body trucks. These old GMCs are known for their durability and straightforward mechanics, making them relatively easy to work on. Just be prepared to tackle that clutch issue soon after purchase. For someone looking to get into the classic truck market, this could be a decent entry point, especially considering the desirable short box 4x4 configuration and the Grande trim level. 6. Today we're checking out this 1969 Ford F100 that just popped up on Craigslist for $8,500. Let me be straight with you. This classic pickup is showing its age with a fair condition rating, but that's not necessarily a deal breaker for the right buyer. Under the hood, you're getting the classic Ford V8 power plant paired with an automatic transmission, making it a proper American workhorse. The truck comes wearing blue paint, and while we're not looking at a show car here, these F100s have such a timeless design that even with some wear, they still turn heads. What's really important is that it's got a clean title and maintains its original rear-wheel drive setup. These 69 F100s are becoming increasingly desirable as classic trucks, and finding one that's still running and driving with all its core components intact isn't as easy as it used to be. Sure, it'll need some TLC, but at $8,500, you're getting into classic truck ownership at a relatively accessible price point. Just remember, you're not buying a restored showpiece. You're getting an honest, working classic truck that could be either a fun project or a cool daily driver with some attention. 7. We're diving into something really special, a 1960 GMC short bed 404 that's popped up on Craigslist for $12,500. Let me tell you, finding an original 404 from this era is like finding a needle in a haystack. This beauty is rocking a 350 Chevy engine with a 4-bolt main, paired with a manual 4-speed transmission featuring that classic granny gear that old-school truck lovers absolutely adore. What makes this truck even more interesting is its excellent condition and some seriously cool upgrades. We're talking dual exhaust, Warn hubs for the locking diff, and Posi-Track front and back. This thing means business. The custom cab package with chrome grille and bumpers really sets it off, and that pig-nose hood is a defining feature that collectors go nuts for. With just 49,000 miles on the clock, this gray beauty has clearly been well maintained. The sellers added some modern touches like a tilt wheel and new gauges, though they need hooking up, and there's even an overhead console and custom extended cab. All the lights are working, which is often a rare find in classics this age. The clean title is just icing on the cake. At $12,500, considering the rarity of an original 444 from 1960 and all these upgrades, you're looking at a pretty solid deal for a piece of American truck history. This isn't just a truck, it's a conversation starter that can still put in work when needed. 8. We're checking out a pretty interesting 1964 Ford F100 that's listed on Craigslist for $12,800. Let me be straight with you. This is a second-owner truck with 77,005 miles on the clock, which is pretty remarkable for a vehicle pushing 60 years old. It's powered by the inline-6 engine, though the seller mentions V6, which is likely a mistake since these came with straight sixes, paired with a manual transmission, making it a pure classic driving experience. The truck presents itself in good condition wearing brown paint, and what's really appealing here is that clean title and all paperwork being up to date. Something that can be a real headache with classics of this age. The rear-wheel drive setup is original, and these 64 F100s are known for their reliability and simple mechanics that make them great candidates for both restoration and regular use. At $12,800, you're in the ballpark for a good condition 64 F100, though it's worth noting that prices on these classic trucks have been climbing steadily. While it might not be a show queen, it sounds like a solid running example of one of Ford's most beloved truck designs. The fact that it's only had 2 owners suggests it's probably been cared for rather than passed around and neglected. 9. We're looking at a 1983 Ford F-150 that's popped up on Craigslist for $9,800, and I've got to keep it real with you folks. This is a high-mileage warrior with 300,000 miles on the clock. That's a lot of stories to tell. It's a 444 with a manual transmission, which is always a plus for those who love that authentic truck driving experience. Now let's be honest here. $9,800 is asking quite a bit for an F-150 of this vintage with this many miles, even in today's inflated classic truck market. The seller's description is pretty bare bones, just mentioning it's a clean truck with a clean title. While these 83 F-150s are known for their durability and were built like tanks, you'll definitely want to do a thorough inspection given the mileage. These 7th-generation F-Series trucks have a strong following, and for good reason. They're simple, rugged, and relatively easy to work on. The 4R4 manual combination is particularly desirable among enthusiasts. However, without more details about its condition, maintenance history, or any recent work done, you'll want to ask some serious questions and maybe bring along a mechanic for a look-see. 10. We're checking out a 1980 Ford F-350 dually that's caught my eye on Craigslist for just $3,500. And let me tell you, this could be a solid deal for the right buyer. We're looking at a workhorse with 129,513 miles, powered by the 351 WEM V8 engine, matched to a 4-speed manual transmission, a combo that's known for its reliability and grunt. Let's be completely honest about what we're dealing with here. The seller's being upfront about the truck's condition. There's some rust in those notorious rear cab corners, a common issue with these old Fords, and it needs a new windshield. The tires are described as fair, so you might want to factor in some rubber replacement down the line. But here's the good news. The body is straight, it runs and drives well, and it comes with a nice flatbed setup featuring a hidden ball hitch, which is pretty handy for serious towing work. At $3,500, you're getting a lot of truck for the money. These old F350 dual-eyes are getting harder to find, especially with the manual transmission, and this one seems to be an honest working truck rather than a beaten-to-death workhorse. The blue paint and clean title are nice bonuses, and the seller's even open to partial trades. 11. We're checking out a 1972 Chevy El Camino that's listed on Craigslist for $14,500. And let me be straight with you about this unique car-truck hybrid. The seller's noting it's got 53,000 miles showing, but they're honest about the odometer having rolled over. So we're likely looking at 153,000 plus actual miles here. It's rocking a V8 engine paired with an automatic transmission, a classic combo that made these vehicles so popular. The good news is it's wearing blue paint, has a clean title, and comes with current 2024 plates. The seller mentions it's in good driving condition, and being a 72, it's exempt from smog testing, which is a big plus for California folks. These third-gen El Caminos have been steadily climbing in value, and the seller's right about that investment potential. At $14,500, you're in the middle range for a driver-quality El Camino from this era. It's not presented as a show car, but rather as a practical classic that can still work for a living. Note the seller's mention of using it to carry tools and materials. That's staying true to the El Camino's original purpose as a vehicle that could do double duty as both a stylish cruiser and a useful hauler. Just remember, with the rolled-over odometer, you'll want to do a thorough mechanical inspection, but hey, that's part of the classic car experience. 12. We're checking out a pretty interesting 1971 Ford Ranchero that's up for grabs on Craigslist at $8,000. Let me tell you, this one's got some tasty specs. It's powered by the desirable 351 Cleveland V8, and according to the seller, the engine's only got 5,000 miles on it, since what I'm assuming was a rebuild. The odometer shows 45,000 miles total, though with these classics, it's always good to assume it might have rolled over. What makes this Ranchero particularly appealing is its list of features. You're getting power steering, power brakes with front discs, a nice safety upgrade for these classics, and factory AC, which is a pretty desirable option. The performance upgrades include an Edelbrock manifold and a Holley carburetor, suggesting someone's put some thought into improving its performance. At $8,000, considering today's market and the fact it's got current registration and bumpers in very good shape, which can be hard to find for these, it's sitting at a pretty reasonable price point. The 351 Cleveland is a sought-after engine, and when properly set up with that Holley Edelbrock combo, these can be really enjoyable drivers. 13. We're looking at a 1972 Chevy K10 that's listed on Craigslist for $25,000, and I've got to be straight with you. That's a serious asking price that demands some serious discussion. This is a short bed 404 model, which is definitely the most desirable configuration for these early 70s Chevys. It's packing a V8 engine paired with an automatic transmission, making it a comfortable cruiser with plenty of grunt. Now let's talk about that $25,000 price tag. While these K10s have absolutely skyrocketed in value over the past few years, especially short bed 4x4s, this is definitely sitting at the higher end of the market. The seller's description is surprisingly brief for a truck at this price point. They're not giving us much detail about its condition, restoration status, or any modifications, just noting it's in good condition with a clean title. These 72 K10s are absolutely gorgeous trucks when done right, with their classic styling and robust mechanicals. They're getting harder to find in original condition, especially short beds, which explains some of the premium. However, without more information about its history, modifications, or restoration details, you'd definitely want to do a thorough inspection to justify that asking price. The seller's firm no trades stance suggests they know what they have and are confident in their price point. Just remember, folks, while these trucks are definitely appreciating assets, make sure you're getting a well-sorted example if you're spending this kind of money. 14. We're looking at an interesting 1978 GMC K10 that's on Craigslist for $12,000. And let me be completely honest with you about this one. While the seller lists it in excellent condition, they're refreshingly upfront about its issues. So let's break this down. This K10 has had some serious work done. We're talking a frame-off rebuild in 2021 with a rebuilt transmission and a 30-over engine rebuild with 4-bolt mains. It's wearing an 84 front clip, which is a popular upgrade for these trucks, and it's got some nice amenities like power windows. The NP203 transfer case is a solid piece of equipment for these 4x4s. However, let's talk about those issues because there are quite a few. There's an oil leak, AC system needs work, despite having a new compressor, broken hood latch, valve stem seals need replacing, causing some smoke, and a sagging headliner. The odometer shows 10,000 miles, which is likely since the rebuild. At $12,000, you're looking at what the seller honestly describes as a good base for a project. The extensive rebuild work is a huge plus, and they've got the receipts to prove it, which is always reassuring. But you'll need to factor in some additional investment to sort out those mechanical issues. For someone who's not afraid to turn some wrenches and wants a solid foundation to build on, this could be a worthwhile project. These K10s are getting harder to find, and having one that's already had a frame-off rebuild is a decent starting point. 15. We're checking out a 1981 Chevy C10 that's popped up on Craigslist for just $2,500. And let me tell you, this could be a pretty sweet deal for the right buyer. We're looking at a V8-powered rear-wheel drive pickup with just 82,000 original miles, which is surprisingly low for these workhorses. Let's keep it real here. The seller's being honest about the truck having typical rust spots, which for these C10s usually means wheel wells, cab corners, and possibly the rocker panels. But there's also some good news. It runs well, has good tires, which can be a significant expense, and all the glass is intact. The white paint might not be show quality, but hey, at this price point, we're talking about a solid driver. At $2,500, this is actually sitting at a pretty attractive price point in today's market, especially for a running and driving square body with relatively low miles and a clean title. These 81 C10s are simple, reliable trucks that are easy to work on, and parts availability is excellent. The automatic transmission makes it an easy daily driver, and these trucks have a huge following with plenty of upgrade potential. For someone looking to get into the classic truck scene on a budget, or needing a reliable work truck with some vintage style, this could be a great opportunity. Just be prepared to address those rust spots before they become bigger issues. 16. We're looking at a 1978 Ford Bronco that's listed for $28,000. And let me tell you, this one's got some interesting details to discuss. We're looking at a high-mileage Warrior with 188,000 miles. But don't let that number scare you just yet. The seller's confidence in this rig is pretty compelling, stating they'd drive it from Seattle to Portland without hesitation. That's the kind of honest endorsement you want to hear. This red beauty is rocking its original paint, which shows some character with surface rust on the hood and the expected scratches and nicks that come with 45 years of life. But here's where it gets good. The interior has been professionally restored, with both front and rear seats redone by a high-end upholstery shop in Fife, WA. They've also upgraded the third member to a 31 spline with 3.50 ratio, which makes this classic much more highway-friendly, a smart modification for modern usability. At $28,000, we're definitely in serious Bronco money territory. While that might seem steep, the market for these first-gen Broncos has been absolutely wild lately. What makes this one interesting is that it's not an over-restored showpiece. It's an honest, well-maintained driver with thoughtful upgrades. All gauges and lights are working, which is often not the case with classics this age. And it's got a clean title. Just remember, while the price is up there, you're getting a classic Bronco that's ready to drive and enjoy, rather than a project that needs everything. These trucks are only getting harder to find in original, unmolested condition. 17. We're looking at a 1969 Ford F-250 Camper Special that's listed for $10,000, and let me be completely honest. This one's a project, but it's got quite a story to tell. The seller's being refreshingly transparent about everything, which I really appreciate. Originally equipped with a 360 C6 combo, this truck's been running a 428 for over 100K miles. Here's where it gets interesting. The 428 wore out, and when they tried to swap in a replacement engine, that one had a camshaft failure on its first drive. So right now, you're looking at a roller, meaning no running engine, with a partially disassembled 428 that needs machine shop attention. But there's some serious good stuff here too. We're talking about a camper special with mostly original orange paint, and it's got some premium upgrades. A Dana 60 rear end that was professionally overhauled by Randy's, with 3.54 gears, traction lock, new carrier and axles, an overhauled Bendix power steering box by Redhead, disc brakes, and Stan's ceramic tri-E headers. The interior's been redone, though it shows normal wear, and yes, there's some rust. It's a 69 after all. What makes this particularly interesting is that it comes with 25 years worth of accumulated spare parts from the seller's experience with 69 Fords. At $10,000, you're not buying a turnkey truck. You're buying a project with good bones and a lot of potential. The camper special models are desirable, and having all those spare parts could be worth their weight in gold. For someone who knows these trucks and isn't afraid of a serious engine project, this could be a worthy investment. Just go in with your eyes open. You're going to need a machine shop and some serious wrench time to get this beauty back on the road. Part 18. We're checking out a 1970 El Camino that's listed for $9,500. And let me tell you, this one's got some interesting potential. We're looking at a California black plate car, which is always a good start, powered by a 350 V8 with some tasty performance upgrades, including a Brawler 4-barrel carb, Edelbrock intake, and headers. The aluminum radiator is a smart upgrade for keeping things cool. Now, let's be completely honest about its condition. The seller's being upfront that this car's been sitting for a while and needs some attention. The exhaust system needs work, and both the paint and interior are described as really old and need to be redone. But here's the good news. It starts, runs, and drives, which is a solid starting point for any project. The car's got some desirable features like power steering, power disc brakes, a B&M shifter, rally wheels, and that aggressive cowl SS hood. With 40,000 miles showing, though on these classics, always take mileage with a grain of salt, and being a California car, there's a good chance the bones are solid. At $9,500, you're buying a project, but one with good potential. These 70 El Caminos are seriously cool vehicles, and with the performance upgrades already in place, you've got a good foundation to work with. Just remember to budget for that paint job, interior work, and exhaust system. This isn't a turnkey cruiser yet, but it could be something really special with some TLC. 19. We're taking a closer look at a 1984 Chevrolet Scottsdale K10 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic pickup is priced at $10,000, and from what the seller tells us, it seems to be in pretty good shape. First off, let's talk about that fresh Raptor liner paint job. It's a sleek gray color that really makes this truck stand out. And the best part? No rust. That's right, this K10 has been well maintained and is ready to hit the road. Under the hood, you'll find a freshly gone-through Goodwrench 4-bolt 350 engine. It's got an RV cam, a new high-output alternator, and a high-volume oil pump. Plus, the seller has done a complete tune-up, including a new cap, rotor, plugs, wires, oil, and filter. Every gasket in the engine has been replaced in the last month, so you know it's running like a top. The transmission is a 700R4 with low miles and a fresh oil and filter change. And with 10-bolt rear ends and a Positrack rear, this K10 has plenty of power and traction to handle any terrain. Inside, you'll find manual door locks and windows, which add to the classic feel of this truck. There's no AC, but who needs it when you've got the windows down and the wind in your hair? The seller has also installed a brand new Kenwood stereo and speakers, so you can crank up your favorite tunes while you cruise. Now, let's talk about those wheels. This K10 is sitting on brand new 18 Ultra wheels, wrapped in 75% 35-12-50 on R18 BF Goodrich tires. They look absolutely killer and are ready to take on any adventure you have in mind. 20. We're diving into the world of classic SUVs with this 1985 Ford Bronco that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. The seller is asking $6,700 for this beauty, and from what they've shared, it seems like it could be a great deal. First things first, let's talk about the condition of this Bronco. The seller states that it's in good shape, and based on the description, it sounds like they've taken good care of it. The Bronco runs and drives great, which is always a good sign for a vehicle of this age. Under the hood, you'll find a 2.8L V6 engine that's paired with a 5-speed manual transmission. This combination should provide plenty of power and control while you're out on the trails or cruising down the highway. The seller also mentions that everything works great, including the cold AC, which is a big plus for those hot summer days. One thing to note is that the odometer shows 135,000 miles. While this may seem like a lot, it's not uncommon for vehicles of this age to have higher mileage. The important thing is that the Bronco has been well maintained and is still running strong. The seller also mentions that the tires are new, which is great news for anyone who plans on taking this Bronco off-road. New tires can be expensive, so it's nice to know that you won't have to worry about replacing them right away. As for the paperwork, the seller states that the Bronco has a clean title and that the registration is up to date. This is important because it means that you won't have to deal with any legal issues or back fees when you go to transfer the title and register the vehicle in your name.